what a wee intro to the podcast. Then I've got a wee like to share competition, so you're going to pick the winner for that. And then it's just questions at you, and just feel free to give your input and chat away. Don't worry about rambling or anything. And it's all kind of based around going from that skinny guy to that kind of bulking up guy, and just giving tips and advice basically. So, right, let's do
That's
it.
cool. Let's go for it.
This is episode 17 of the Edinburgh Fitness Podcast with myself, Steve Smith. I'm glad to say I've got another guest on today, and I've got loads of great
guys.
First off, just want to say thank you to everyone that listened to last week's podcast. That had a really good response, loads of listens, so no pressure on Ryan today. But one of the parts of it is the like and share. So for everyone that posted it on their storyline, I'm going to get Ryan to pick the winner. So Ryan, give me a number between 1 and 9.
8.
8. And this isn't, Ryan doesn't know this, I just told him here. So the winner is Chloe Brody. So congratulations, Chloe. I'll be in touch with you directly to get your prize. And it's the same this week, guys. At the end of the podcast, if you like and share it, you'll go into the draw to win a prize with me. So on to this week's episode. Like I say, I've got a guest with me today. So let me introduce Ryan Mulvey. How are we doing?
Oh, good. How are you doing, man?
Good. The sun's starting to come out in Livingston, so we're getting somewhere.
Brilliant. It's sunny over here, but if I open this, then it's going to be too bright. So I'll go out and enjoy the sun after this podcast.
Yeah, you need it.
I know. Well, I'm actually quite tanned. It's just the sunlight coming through. It's making me look a lot lighter.
Mate, you just got to go in darkness like me, and then
there we go.
Again, I've got a different topic for kind of every single week, and this one I think is quite an interesting topic because there's been loads of stuff about weight loss and going on to diets, all that kind of stuff. But there is people out there that want to do the opposite. They want to bulk up, and I thought it was really good to get somebody on that's kind of been through that journey themselves and can tell you kind of the pitfalls, the areas that you can improve on, focus on, and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I got Ryan on. So Ryan, do you want to give everyone a wee background about who you are first of all?
So I'm Ryan Mulvey. I'm a personal trainer. Been a PT for about 7 years now. But I first started to get into the gym because I was that really skinny boy when I was in school. I was so weak, wasn't strong when I played football, and I just needed to get that strength. So when I turned 15 years old, I might have lied about my age and I signed up to Pure Gym. So I went into Pure Gym and I trained by one of my mates there, and we didn't really have a clue what we were doing. I kind of just followed him and his dad. And then when I turned 16, that's when I went to Edinburgh Leisure, and a guy, Adrian, took me through the ropes and showed me what to do, and I instantly just fell in love. And ever since, I just wanted to get stronger and get bigger. And then a couple of years after that, I went to Edinburgh College at Milton Road. I'd done a fast track course to HNC, Fitness, Health and Exercise. Then I'd done my instructor's course after that, my HNC and my PT course a year after that. And then that was me a qualified PT. But ever since I started going to the gym, all I've wanted to do was get bigger and stronger. Now, I've never done a cut. And now what a cut is when you're trying to lose body fat but maintain as much muscle as you've got. I've never done that until actually a month and a half ago. So I've always been eating a lot of food, training, lifting heavy. And I love it. It's good. And I must have started off at about 78 to 80 kilos. And the heaviest I got up to a couple of years ago was 103 or just over 103. So it was a slow progress, and it took a lot of time to get this size. And I'm not saying I'm massive, but I was really, really skinny when I was younger. So there we go.
About 30 kilograms. So over kind of how many years was that from?
I would say 5 years probably. So the progress probably could have been better, but then again, it could have been worse.
It's life.
So it's life, definitely. And I've had, like business and like everything in life, I've had times where my trainings went really well and I've progressed. And I've had my times when I was younger when I went out drinking every weekend and I didn't go to the gym during the week and I didn't eat enough protein and my nutrition was shocking. But as I started to get more into personal training, obviously I fixed a lot of that for myself because I would need to do that with my clients.
What was kind of the stage where you got the best response? Was it kind of when you initially started lifting weights, or was it when you really honed in on nutrition? When did you actually see the biggest change in yourself physically?
It was more when I added compounds into my program. Now, there's a lot of research recently which is saying you don't really need compounds. You can still build a lot of muscle through isolation exercises, which you can. But for me, compounds was building the strength. And if I knew if I was building strength, then I was going to be building muscle at the same time. Now, you can build muscle through a lot of rep, and a lot of people think you might just need to build muscle, it's hypertrophy or hypertrophy, so the 12 or the 10 to 15 rep range. But I always done my compounds, so that's squats, deadlifts, military press, bench press, the exercises with the Olympic bar. I would always do them with low reps, heavy weight, and a lot more rest. And that's when I got a good response, as well as a calorie surplus. So I had to make sure that I was eating a lot more calories than what my body was burning on a daily basis. And that was allowing my body to put on that extra muscle mass. I was putting on body fat, but I wasn't worrying about that at the time. I was just trying to get as big and as strong as quickly as possible. But that was probably, again, 5 years ago when I started to get a good response. The way I was doing it probably wasn't the best. I could have ate cleaner foods, but there was a few nights I was having 2 pizzas and Ben and Jerry's, and it was always before leg day I'd done that. 2 pizzas and a Ben and Jerry's. And maybe that's why my legs are massive. I don't know. Well, my quads anyway.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think for Joe Public, compound moves are kind of where I would always recommend kind of going. I think isolations have their part, but unless you're kind of specifically looking at bodybuilding or something, I think Joe Public should definitely look at working large muscle groups and working them together to get that kind of overall strength and avoid imbalances and stuff like that. I mean, I started training about 18 years ago now, probably. And I trained chest and biceps for about the first 8 years of my life. So my imbalances were shocking. And even today, I'm still working on kind of shoulder mobility and stuff like that. So I wish somebody kind of gave me proper advice back in the day. So you kind of touched on it there, but what would you say is the kind of optimal rep range for building muscle or bulking up?
So it depends on, again, it could be trial and error because everyone's body is different. So I responded better to my strength training where I was lifting heavier weights and lower reps. But I'm watching a lot more bodybuilders now and they're focusing more on the higher rep ranges. So again, I think everyone needs to just try and get a tailored approach. Try lifting heavy. Try maybe doing drop sets, supersets. Again, that's probably for more advanced lifters. I would never throw supersets, drop sets, trisets in with a beginner because they need the foundations first. So for muscle building, I would always start, my sessions would always start heavier compounds. And as my energy levels started to drop, that means I could lighten the weight slightly and my rep range could go up. And that's what I felt worked best for me, anyway.
Yeah, I was listening to Lane Norton the other night, and answered this in one of my Q&As. Was, the kind of traditional was about 60% of your 1 rep max, 8 to 12 reps, and they're kind of saying now that it's as long as you're kind of working as close to failure as possible, whether it's in your kind of 1 to 5 rep range or your 8 to 12 or even 12 to 20 kind of thing, you can build muscle, but you need to be working kind of as close to failure as you can in each rep range. So, like you say, it kind of comes down to preference in that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm more a strength, same as you. Like if I get above 8-10 reps, I'm like, mentally not really got it. But that pushing out kind of strong loads from 1 to 5 or something can make a difference. And again, it's kind of what you say. It's consistency, isn't it? You've got to find stuff you actually enjoy because you stick with it. and then you're going
exactly
to get a response from it. So
exactly.
So you kind of touched on like compounds and trisets and all those kind of things, which is obviously overload, which a lot of trainers speak about progressive overload. But do you want to kind of give somebody that's maybe never known what progressive overload actually means and an example of it? Just clarify it for them.
Aye, so progressive overload. So if you're first going to the gym, you might just go in straight away and jump on a chest press and then jump on the next machine beside it and jump on another machine. You want to have a plan in place. So depending on how many days you're going to be training, how long you want to train, but you also need to think about your rest period. Because if you're wanting to build muscle, you're wanting to get stronger, or even if you're still wanting to lose body fat or lose weight, your body still has to recover. So it's taking your weight training and your cardio, all your training and your rest, and combining that. Because if you train all the time, then your body isn't going to recover. What was the question again? Sorry.
It was about progressive overload. But...
Progressive overload. There we go. Again, rambling on. What I'm brilliant at. So progressive overload simply is slowly progressing the weight over time. So just say this week I deadlifted 180 kilos for 2 reps. The next again week, I just want to add on a little bit more weight, which is going to put a little bit more stress onto my body, which is going to make me work harder, which is going to help me build that muscle and get stronger.
Yeah, and I think we were seeing it through the years, and again, I was probably guilty in the first few years, is you just came in and did the same weights, the same reps, same sets for 6 months, and then went, oh, hang on a second, why am I not really changing it? Like you say, it's kind of adapting it to make it progressively harder, and like you say, stress the muscle out a bit more. So like you say, you've got the weight, you've increased the reps, the sets, and I think that's again where people kind of go off a wee bit lost sometimes, is when they think simply they have to do one thing, like do more reps, and it's like, well, no, you can progressive overload in a number of different ways, but obviously it just depends on what your goal is and stuff like that. So like you say,
yeah, definitely,
that makes sense. And I think when that's, if you struggle with that, then I think that's where the benefits of a trainer comes in, doesn't it? Because that's what they focus on, is that you're overloading. So
100%, and I think it keeps it exciting as well. Now, if you went to the gym and done the same exercises and lifted the same weights and done the same reps every week, I would leave the gym. I couldn't do that. But people might laugh, but I get excited the night before I'm training, because I know when I wake up and I'm going to train that I need to try and beat that session before. And it's exciting trying to get stronger, trying to get bigger. It would be boring trying to lift the same weights all the time. It's good to progress. It keeps that energy going, keeps the fire burning.
Exactly, and I think that's maybe why you do see a lot of people just dropping off in it, is because they get to a stage, they see results, they love it, but then after 3 or 4 months it doesn't happen, and then
because I've not added in that next step.
Instead of asking for help or anything like that, they just simply go, it's not for me, and it's such a mental barrier to overcome and stuff like that, and there's so many different ways you can overload. So
definitely
awesome. So you kind of touched on nutrition as well, and obviously that's one of the big factors. So what's your advice when it comes to nutrition for bulking up?
So it depends who I'm really talking to, but it's for younger guys, I'm like, and this is just coming from me, a lot of PTs might be like, no, you need to eat a lot cleaner. But for younger guys that are active, they're training hard, they're healthy, enjoy your life, have some pizza, have some chocolate, make sure you're getting enough carbs in, you're getting enough protein in, and just enjoy your lifting. Make sure you're doing it safe, make sure you're following a program which isn't too hard for you or isn't too easy for you, so it's on your level. So again, what was the question?
So it's just basic nutrition advice for bulking up.
Basic nutrition, bulking up. So you want to be, I should probably be writing these down, you want to be in a calorie surplus. So this means you need to eat more calories than what your body burns. So this is giving your body extra energy to use to try and build that muscle and to try and gain that strength. And you want it, again, we're going back to consistency. You need to consistently eat more than what you're burning day after day to see these results. If you're not going to track your nutrition, and when I say track your nutrition, you can do this any way you want, as long as it works for you. You can use a notebook and write down read the back of the box, read the calories. You can use an app, so MyFitnessPal, scan the foods, but you just need to make sure that you are eating more than what you're burning. And that's probably the most important thing for the nutrition. And then make sure your protein and your carbs are there. And obviously fats are a lot higher per gram than carbs and protein. So you just need to watch how much fats you're eating, because that could take your calories way overboard.
Definitely. And when you're talking kind of calorie surplus, what kind of guidelines would you give people? Are you talking like an extra 200 calories, 500 calories, 1,000 over their base kind of thing?
So you want to try and find your maintenance calories first. So what your maintenance would be is obviously you're not losing, but you're not gaining. And then once you've got that number, so how you would find that is just weigh yourself every week. I'll weigh myself every day, but obviously your weight's going to fluctuate. But I'll weigh myself for the 7 days and I'll take an average. Do that next game week, weigh myself, take an average, and I can see if the weight's going to be the same. And if it is, then that's going to be my maintenance calories. And then from there, I would just add about 200 or 300. Again, your body likes to adapt. And if you give your body too much to do, then it might not respond to it well. So you want to, again, it's progressive overload. It's slowly progressing. You don't deadlift 180 to 250. You go 180 to 182.5 and you take it slowly. It's the same in nutrition. You need to slowly add the calories up to allow your body to adapt to that.
Let's bring those deadlift numbers down to Steve numbers, like kilograms, right? But yeah, exactly right. And then what about kind of your recommendations for protein? Like, is there a certain amount per kilogram of body weight you recommend, or what would you say?
On average, I would say 1.8 to 2 grams per pound of body weight. But a lot of PTs have got their different options. But when you're bulking, you don't need as much protein as when you're cutting, because you're going to have the extra calories in your body. Your body's going to use that. But when you're cutting, obviously you're trying to maintain as much muscle mass as possible. So if you're not consuming enough protein, then your body's not going to use the protein to recover and rest and help the tissue grow.
Yeah, and like you say, the carbs are so important for bulking up as well, don't they? I mean, a lot of the time, young lads will focus purely on protein, and they underestimate how important carbs are for actually bulking up and stuff like that, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. I remember when I used to go to Pure Gym when I was 15, and me and my mate, we had a massive tub, 5 kilo tub of the Matrix Strawberry Dream Protein or something. We had 2 or 3 scoops. As soon as we finished our workout, we were straight over to the water fountain, shaking our shakers and downing that protein about the anabolic window. So if you don't down your protein after your workout, then that's you done. But even with carbs, so obviously, well, not obviously, you might not know, but carbs get stored in your muscles. So if you're not consuming enough carbs, then your muscles might look a little bit smaller, but doesn't mean you've not lost that muscle. Your muscles are just depleted from carbohydrates or glucose or glycogen. So it's just getting the carbs into your body. But obviously you need to track your calories, because you don't want to consume too much carbs or too much fat. Again, that might take you overboard, and that's not what you're wanting. You want to be in a slight surplus, so you're allowing your body to adapt to it. Eating too much and way over your calories is just going to have a negative effect over time. You'll feel sluggish, tired. Halfway through your workout, you'll want to give up. So,
yeah, and like you say, those calories are so important. I've pretty much given all my shames on every podcast so far, but I mean, I remember when I first started out lifting, and I was having a bulk shake, but then taking away like 2 meals instead of it, kind of thing. So it was pointless, really. I was basically just transferring calories from eating food to putting it in a shake, because nobody kind of told me the importance of being in a calorie surplus. I just thought it's a protein shake, that's all I need, kind of thing. But it's like you say, it's getting those calories first, then it's kind of focusing on kind of protein numbers, and then bringing in your carbs and your fats and stuff like that. But you said something there, which again, this is all about kind of taking out myths and stuff like that. talk to people about the anabolic
window. Aye.
Just
so yeah, I think no
one.
one's really spoke about it for a while now. But it used to be this mad myth that you would only have like 15 to 30 minutes to consume your protein after your workout, and if you didn't consume your protein within that time, then your body didn't recover or you didn't build as much muscle tissue. Now, what's coming out now is some people prefer to eat smaller meals with protein throughout the day, or some people like to have 2 larger meals with obviously larger protein amounts in it. And that doesn't matter as long as you're consuming the amount of protein your body needs. Then that's the most important thing. But the anabolic window is nonsense. And I think everyone used to believe in that, down their protein shake straight after the session.
You'd see lads taking it out on the floor because they'd had to drink it before they got back to the change rooms. And
I know.
And it was mental, isn't it? I don't actually know where it's really came from. There is a window of some sort, but it's nowhere near as small as people think.
Definitely.
But it must be protein companies or something that thought, right, let's squeeze it into like 30 minutes because nobody can get a chicken breast after their workout. Nobody can get a shaken. But there'll still be people that believe there are anabolic windows. So hence why I asked you, because people need to hear the truth and realise that, eat 2 hours after the gym, you're probably still going to have the same impact, provided you get your protein goals right across the day, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I'm obviously quite big on mindset and stuff like that. Talk to me about kind of some of the things, the mindset and that you have to get into when you're bulking up. Like what do you have to kind of barriers you have to overcome and stuff like that?
The one thing that I think a lot of people do is are scared to put on weight, and they're scared to put on that body fat. Now, other people say I've been lean when I thought I was heavier, but I've never looked at myself and seen a 4-pack or a 6-pack. I've always believed I was in a higher body fat percentage. But
this is exactly what I was hoping you would say. So keep going.
What was it again? Sorry.
So is that like the barrier of trying to bulk up, but then looking at the scales or looking at
aye. So putting on too much body fat. Now a lot of people will think they're going to be in a calorie surplus, but you just need to get over the fact that you're going to put on weight. You're going to put on body fat. But it's going back to people wanting the short fix or the short-term goal. You need to understand that it's going to be a long process. You might need to be in a calorie surplus for 6 months. You might need to be in a calorie surplus for a year. But you need to think about that end goal. And if you're just going to try and build muscle, but being in a maintenance, you might look good, but you're not going to build that muscle. It's not going to happen. You have to be in a calorie surplus. Now, and it's never been hard for me, but I can understand why it would be hard for other people. If you wake up in the morning and you do look a little bit heavier, or maybe even people comment and say, oh, what's happened? You're looking fatter, and you might get slagged at your work or anything like that. So that could be another barrier as well. But it's just going back to thinking about your goal, how much it means to you, and think about the long term, because it's all about that journey. It's all about enjoying that process.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something I've noticed myself doing was, I'm so lucky that when I kind of hold water in that, I seem to hold it round about my chin and, all the areas you don't want to hold it. And then when I was kind of going through a bulking phase, I'd be going, oh, God, I'm getting a bit heavier here. And then going, oh, maybe I should do a wee cut. And it's like, well, hang on, you've only been like in a surplus for a couple of weeks. You're doing nothing here. Like, stick with the process kind of thing. And it is a mental barrier that you have to overcome. And
definitely.
The longer goal over the short-term process. So.
I've been there myself. Like, I've been bulking up. And then even when I was working in a gym, a few PTs were like, oh, you're looking fat. You're looking heavier. Instantly, I was just like, right, I'm going to try a cut here. Now, I've tried a few cuts in the past, but I've never stuck to it, because I have always realised eventually that I'm like, no, I'm trying to build here. Why am I not a deficit? Why am I trying to cut? And then I will go back onto my surplus and try and block out their comments or their thoughts. But it's just, think about your goal and put that work in. That's all I need to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's we're very bad at self-sabotaging, aren't we? So it's like
100%.
you have a goal and then you go, oh, well, now I want to cut. And then you go, oh, well, now I want to bulk. And it's like all you're doing is self-sabotaging yourself because your body just wants to go, actually, just let's do something easy because I can't be arsed. Like,
Imagine a client done that, though, every few weeks. Right, Steve, I want to bulk up. Right, Steve, I want to cut. That would be quite annoying. So, or you would explain to them, it's a long process. You know what I mean? So, again, it's thinking about that.
but you said it before the call, didn't you? It's like you've kind of, the way you've overcame some barriers has been speaking to yourself as if it's a third person kind of thing. And that's sometimes what you have to do is like treat yourself as if it was a client. Right, if I was a client, what would I say to this client right now? And like you say, like stick with the process and trust the process. So.
Exactly. That's what I've tried to do over the years. Usually, if you can be quite angry or quite stressed about something, you'll always see it from your point of view. But it's quite good, especially with some books I've read. It's good to take a step back, observe it from different perspectives. You kind of have a different look on it, which is good. So definitely looking on things in third person definitely helps.
Getting the facts, isn't it? And taking the emotion out and getting the facts as to, right, where am I actually and what do I need to do kind of thing.
That's it, exactly. Spot on.
So what are you working on at the moment? So you're cutting at the moment, did you say? What would be your kind of long-term goals?
So my long-term goal, I've got a coach at the moment. So we have actually planned it where we're going to do a bodybuilding competition and a powerlifting competition. But obviously with COVID going on, we're going to just train hard this year. And then hopefully by next year, starting next year, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. And then a few months after that, I'm going to do a powerlifting competition. So my training is just on point at the moment. I'm loving it. So I'm doing obviously cutting at the moment, and this is the first cut I've really stuck at. And I started at 99.2 kilograms, and the lowest I've been was 91.4. I've shot back up to 92, but I'm looking leaner. When I looked in the mirror, and I'm my worst critic, I'll never think I look good. But I'll look at myself in the mirror, my belt was looser today. So although my weights went up, I'm looking better. So I'm going to give it a few more days, and I know that weight's going to drop back down to about 91, hopefully 90. But my goal at the moment is just cutting down, but I'm enjoying it because what I'm doing is I'm tracking my nutrition through MyFitnessPal. So I've got a certain amount of protein to eat, certain amount of carbs to eat, and a certain amount of fats to eat. And as long as I can get that in through certain foods, then that's it. And if I'm tracking what I'm eating, then I can see how much is going into my body. I kind of treat it like a bank account. So it's like you've got X amount to spend a day. If you spend too much, you're in debt. And what the debt is you're putting on body fat. So spend your money wisely, spend your calories wisely. But it's good fun. I'm enjoying the cut. It's good.
So you're still quite flexible with what you're eating?
Pretty much, yeah. Now, I love chocolate, so I can't go a day without chocolate. But I seen Craig post Cocoa Pops, and you make a protein shake and just pour that in. And it was only about 470 odd calories. And it fills me up and it gets rid of that chocolate that I need. So it's actually not too bad. And then I love chicken. I can eat chicken all day. So I've got loads of spices there. So I've just been cooking loads of chicken throughout the day with garlic, peri spice, salt and pepper, and that's it.
Nice.
And then the thin bagels as well, because they're only 130 calories. So I'll have one or two of them together throughout the day. But it's actually, once you're in a routine and you start to see that progress, you start to enjoy it and get into it more. And I think that's the stage I'm at now.
Do you think it's kind of helped that you've set some goals for the future that's keeping you motivated and stuff like that?
100%. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of in a bad mindset. And then what I started to do, I think it's just because lockdown, not working, everyone's kind of been in the same boat. But I know when I was at my best, when I was a PT, I always wrote down the night before a massive list, or not a massive, but a list to do with certain things. Some for myself and some for my business. And I've been doing this for about a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks, and my mood's just changed all of a sudden. Feel on top of the world. It's that feeling of just ticking the box and getting things done throughout the day. and it's giving myself a little bit more time. Like, I always used to struggle to read or kind of just relax a little bit, but I've been waking up, meditating, doing mobility work, reading my book, and then I go down and have breakfast, and my brain, my body is ready to go. So
yeah, it's putting yourself in peak state in it, and it's giving you ready to hit the day and stuff like that. And it's like you say, it's just little things that add up to that overall win. And I kind of wrote an email about it. It's a bit like golf, isn't it? It's like you don't play golf because you get a hole in one every time. You play shots, and sometimes you go aggressive, sometimes you pull back. But it's the combination of shots which.
Aye, definitely good way to explain it.
I actually stole it from an American, but he said baseball, and I thought nobody fucking. So I'll change it to golf. But yeah, and like you say, it's goal setting, and it's how easy is it usually when we used to go on holiday. But when you go on holiday and you've got 6 weeks for the holiday, you train balls out and you go for it, and when there's a wedding or that, and then when there's nothing, you're like, huh.
That's it. And that's kind of what I feel like just now. Obviously, I've trained for years now, and I've never competed. And I've always followed bodybuilders. I'm into my strength training. I follow powerlifters. And it's getting to that point now, it's like, what can I do to take my training to the next level? And if I can do bodybuilding competitions and powerlifting competitions, then that's going to gain my knowledge as a personal trainer and a coach as well. So it's going to benefit me, and it's going to benefit my business.
Exactly. So you've been on that journey, and when people come to you and you go, well, I've been there, I've known what it's like when you go on a cut and all that kind of stuff. But I think one of the good things about the goal setting, when people kind of don't have a goal and they don't know where to go, you've got freedom. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I've got nothing to train for. It's like, find something. Like you say, it's like, do a show if you want, or do powerlifting, or do a sport, or just do a photo shoot, or whatever it is. It's like, give yourself a date and then work towards that goal. And it's amazing how your motivation suddenly changes, your state changes, and then everything becomes a lot easier. So
definitely, because there's purpose behind it. So yeah, and you've got that deadline. So as soon as you're going and you miss a day, you're getting closer and closer. So you need to put that work in. You need to work hard.
Right. So to kind of wrap up, let's just summarise. Give us the 3 top tips you would give to somebody looking to bulk up.
Bulk up. So 3 most important tips. Eat loads and track your calories. So that's going to come as 1. Don't be scared. So this is all coming in 1. Don't be scared to put on the body fat. So eat loads and don't be scared to put on body fat. Number 2, focus on progressive overload. You want to lift a little bit heavier. Now, you're not going to go every week lifting heavier and heavier and heavier. You might stall for a bit, but always track your training. So take a note of what you lifted. Try and beat it the next game week. If you can't, just stick with that number. You always want to try and get better session after session. But if you have a rubbish session, don't get upset. Just learn from it and move on. Understand that was a bad session. Learn from it. Move on. Third most important one, rest. Make sure you're recovering. You can't train 7 days a week. Your body has to recover to allow it to grow, to build that muscle tissue. If you're going to train 7 days a week, how do you recover? So rest, take your rest days, 2, maybe 3 a week. Sleep well, 8 hours a night minimum. And that was more, but there's 3.
That was awesome. I think we're wrapping up now, but we probably should have went into rest a bit more, because like you say, it's like you can't go all out 7 days a week. So would it not be better to go all out one day, rest another day, and then go all out the next day, as opposed to working at like a 7 out of 10 because you're not really going anywhere? Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Awesome. So obviously you said you're back in the fitness game. So where can people find out more about you?
So I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. So YouTube and Spotify is just my podcast. So that's RMF Fitness Podcast. And my Instagram is Mulvey PT. So I'm actually working on being a transformation coach, helping people lose body fat, build up muscle. Again, I've done that process myself. So I'm looking to work with clients that are looking to do the same. And I'm currently going to be training my clients outdoors just now. Obviously, I've got a lot of equipment to work with. And as soon as the gyms come back, I'm going to look at my options and see what's available.
Good man. Well, thank you very much, Ryan, for being on the show, guys. That was the Bulking Up podcast from Edinburgh Fitness Podcast by me, Steve Smith. Don't forget to listen at the end for the old like and share campaign. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one soon.
Been a pleasure. See you later on.